Hi, I'm Brian Doyle, co-owner of Climb Tacoma. Today I'm going to give you 3 quick tech tips on how to hang on to slopers. Slopers would be a hold that doesn't have a really defining feature to it, something like this guy and this guy. Most people tend to hate slopers just because it's a lot of contact strength just to hang on to it. But there are 3 things you can do to make them a bit easier to hang on to. So the first one is just to stay low. Most of the time people grab slopers, the tendency is to want to take them and move them into a lock-off position, try to pull them to your shoulder in an attempt to make them feel more secure. That's the worst way you could probably grab onto a sloper. Once you take this hold and you bring it to the shoulder height, it really changes the angle of your hand dramatically on the hold itself. Once it comes to shoulder height, you're almost just hanging on more on your fingertips. You're pulling straight out on the hold. It's much more advantageous to stay low on the hold. Stay as low as possible. By staying low on the hold, it changes the angle of your hand dramatically, and you get a lot more friction between the texture of the hold and skin in your hand. With these holds, it's never going to be super easy to hang on to because it all comes down to contact strength, the ability to take your hand from here and to close it, essentially. So first tip, stay low. Stay low until you're ready to move off the hold. Stay low until you're ready to go. The next tip with these guys is to be accurate. Every sloper is going to have a good part to it and a bad part to it. Unless it's exactly the size of your hand, there's going to be somewhere on there that's better than others. With this hold, if I was to say throw to it and be inaccurate, grabbed it here as opposed to here, much less of a chance of actually hanging onto the hold. So it's worth it to take the time to take a look at the hold and see where the best part of it's going to be, and then be accurate when you move to the hold. Especially if you're moving to it dynamically. Throwing to this hold and grabbing it like this as opposed to here is going to make a dramatic difference on whether or not you're going to be able to hang on to the hold. So third tip would be to not linger long on these holds. Move onto them and move off of them. Whole time you're hanging onto this hold, you're using a tremendous amount of energy. You're continually having to close your hand as hard as you can, which is really going to pump out your forearms. So more than likely this might end up being the crux of a route, the hardest part of a route. So when you get to these holds, you want to move onto the hold and get off of it as quickly as possible. And those are my 3 tech tips for slopers. Thanks for watching.